going to talk about target panic. Everybody that ever has shot a bow gets target panic. Most of us live with a form of target panic, and it's very important to realize this. And there's a few things that you can do, steps you can take to help minimize that target panic. Number one, blind bell shooting. One of the most boring things you'll ever do as an archer. But there again, the animal deserves your practice. Blind bell shooting is standing at close range, continually working through your shot, not really focusing on aiming, but just thinking about the shot. Blind bell shooting, like I said, is repetitive and very boring, but it allows your mind to repetitively do the same thing over and over, so that that becomes your default when you draw back and it's game time.
Challenge of killing a big deer. I guess my number one deal on the challenge of killing a big deer, just trying to figure him out. You know, each deer is an individual. You got to figure out, you know, what makes him tick, where he stays, where he moves to. You know, they got two different ranges, and just try to put the puzzle together. So it's just like putting together a big jigsaw puzzle. Trail cameras, they make a big difference in putting together the puzzle with these big deer, because you can move them in, you can move them to the bedding area, figure out where the bedding area is, figure out where they're eating, figure out where there's scrapes or rubs, you know, set cameras up there and just kind of get an idea of where they're moving. In 2016, I first started getting pictures of this deer. I think the first picture was around the end of October. He showed up on a farm. I never have a picture of him before that. I run mineral, had cameras there the whole year. He just showed up and he stayed there the whole year. And then in December, I decided to try to kill this deer with a bow. He was still there. He made it through rifle season. And I had an encounter with him one evening, and I was by myself self-filming. I had the deer come within 25 yards, but it was really, really thick. Had two does with him. The does come on out, and you know, as it happens, the buck didn't. He decided to skirt me. He skirted about 50-55 yards. I couldn't get the deer to stop. Got good footage of him. I could tell how good he was. So just one of those blown opportunities.
Full Draw Adventures is brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. E-Ninja Bikes. Excel Sights and Scopes. Black Eagle Arrows, superior carbon technology. True Ball Archery. West Houston Archery. Shrewd Archery, Last Chance Archery, Matthews.
Introducing E-Ninja off-road bikes. Powerful, rechargeable, and affordable, E-Ninja bikes are designed with the outdoorsman in mind. With a 48-volt high-torque motor and 21-gear Shimano transmission, E-Ninja bikes can go almost anywhere. Be the ninja with E-Ninja bikes.
So after I had the encounter with this deer, I got to talking to Blake, and we decided this deer was a 4.5-year-old buck, and I had another buck on another farm that was a 4.5-year-old deer. So then going into 17, Blake and I started hunting together. We started running mineral. This deer, again, he doesn't show up at all. And late October, he shows up, just all of a sudden, he's there again. and he's there a lot. We had him on trail camera coming and going a lot. So then we started hunting him. We don't want to hunt him too early. We don't want to push him out of the area, so we started hunting him. We had 2 target bucks, this being one and then one being another one, so we was hunting each one of them.
Got a 5-year-old in here that'll probably bust 170. That's what we're after. So hopefully he'll do the same thing he just did.
So as it got closer to November, we started getting more pictures of this buck, and we even started getting some daylight pictures. So we knew it was just a matter of time before one of us was going to be in front of this deer to get a shot at him. So instead of trying to self-film this deer with him being the caliber he was, we decided that we really needed another cameraman. Well, Blake had a cameraman, and JD just happened to call and said, hey, I got 2 days open, first week of November. So JD makes a trip up from St. Louis. We meet that night, he gets there about dark, and we put on a game plan to go out and hunt the next morning.
I've never wanted to do an interview less than what I want to do this one. Okay.
November the 7th, hunting in Missouri. I got a big 10-pointer in here I'm hunting. I think he'll go around 170. He's been starting to daylight a little bit, so I've got 2 big scrapes down here in front of me. I got JD on the camera. Looks like it's gonna be a good morning.
So the first morning we went out, and I started doing the same thing that I've been doing for the past 15 years of just documenting the hunt, laying down footage, and doing the same thing that I've done over and over and over. We'd been sitting there maybe 30 minutes. It just got really good daylight, and I thought that I heard something jump over a fence. In my mind, I thought that was a deer, but I wasn't too sure. Next thing I know, Robbie and I both look, and here is this buck coming at about 40 yards. At that moment, my worst fear as a cameraman was realized. On the biggest deer that I had ever seen in the wild and that Robbie had ever shot with his bow, I double punched the record button.
Your odor is betraying you. It's ruining your hunt, pressuring your property, and killing your opportunities. This year, let nothing stand between you and your best season ever. Deploy a steady stream of odor-destroying molecules every second of every hour of every hunt with Ozonics. Available only at ozonixhunting.com.
So I get it come to full draw. The deer's coming down the trail. He gets almost to an opening. I look back, I say, "You got him?" He's like, "Yes." I grunt, the deer stops. I put an arrow in him. You know, everything is perfect. The deer takes off running, and I mean, just so excited. I turn to JD, you know, and I'm doing my interview. I'm all excited, and all of a sudden, all expression leaves his face. I mean, just totally. I mean, it's like I just lost his best friend, and I'm like, "Man, what's wrong?" He says, "I don't think I got it."
Well, guys, we just had that big 10 come in. I put an arrow in him. It looked like the shot might have been a little bit back. The arrow was still in him. So we're gonna pack up here in a minute and get out of here. Something happened with the camera. We didn't get the footage. We was on him for a second, and the camera just went blank and went back to me. So, hey, if you're videoing, you know that happens. So hopefully we can show you that deer here in just a little bit.
After all this happens, of course, we don't have any footage, so we can't tell exactly where I hit the deer, but I knew in my head that I hit him a little bit far back and maybe just a little bit low. So, you know, when in doubt, you know, back out. So we waited 8 hours, full 8 hours before we go back in. We go back in, we found pretty good blood, found the arrow broke off. The deer's headed toward a creek. There's a big creek there, it's about 100 yards, so we figured this deer's gonna go lay down in this creek. We get there and there's one big bed, but the deer had got up, which was strange. So we track him on a little ways further, another big bed, he gets up again, and then, I mean, we lose everything. And so next morning we get up, we go back in, we search this farm. I mean, we look everywhere. We cannot find nothing, no more blood. Well then, that evening, JD's got to go back to St. Louis, so he heads on back. Still got his head hanging low over what happened. And so I go out the next morning and I just keep zigzagging this farm. I know in my head this deer is down somewhere. I just have to find him. And I'd been all through this area, I mean, 2 times, but there's a lot of brush piles. And I got up close to the edge of the field, one brush pile, and I walk around and there he lays. I mean, it just so happened I walked up on him. All right, guys, here he is, the Big 10. Had him on this farm for 2 years. I followed him last year, got pictures of him. He never did come in on this farm until about the end of October. He done the same thing this year. I actually videoed this deer last year and had him within 25 yards and couldn't get him killed. And then after that, opted to let him go because we figured he'd be bigger this year. And he is. He's definitely a stud. And you know how filming is. Sometimes stuff don't happen the way it's supposed to. And we didn't get the footage of shooting him. Of course, JD was heartbroken, and so we don't have any footage of killing him, but we got footage of him last year. We got trail camera pictures of him, so just very fortunate and glad and blessed to be sitting behind this animal right here.
When I got the call from Robbie and Blake that they'd found the deer, I felt relieved. I still felt horrible about the footage, but that was neither here nor there. There was nothing that could be done about it. I was just really happy that Robbie had found his buck. And the next weekend was the opening of Missouri's rifle season, so I was going to be going out by myself in hopes of redeeming myself. I decided to spend opening day out at my family farm. This is a place where, honestly, the genetics aren't that great. Your odds of killing a big buck are extremely low. but it is a place that holds a lot of value to me as far as the memories that I formed there. So I was going to be hunting by myself, so I decided to spend the day on honestly one of my favorite places.
It is opening day of rifle season here in Missouri, and also happens to be Veterans Day. With it being opening day of deer season and Veterans Day at the same time, spent most of the day thinking about my grandpa. Opening day of deer season was always a real big deal for us, and he was also a Korean War veteran. Fought with the 40th Infantry Division in the Korean War. As a matter of fact, the spot that I'm setting, I was originally going to hunt a different farm, but the wind was bad, so I came out here to our family farm. The last deer that he killed was a little 7-point buck, and killed it probably about 100 to 150 yards, kind of off to the left of me here. And that was the last year that he hunted. Just a lot of memories today. I haven't seen a deer all day, but even if we end the day without seeing anything, that'll still be a good day.
I ended up sitting in a spot on the ground that I had never sat before. Wasn't really expecting to see much. Just kind of wanted to really just kind of sit and think and kind of enjoy the evening. I'd been there maybe an hour or two, and look out, don't know where he came from, but look out in the field and here's this buck that just appeared out of nowhere.
Well, I think that we might have just shot ourselves a buck. Man, oh man.
To be honest, the value in this property has never been in the big bucks that have been taken off of it. The value of this place has always been in the memories that have been made. And that's something that I want to continue. So rather than hauling this deer out by myself, I decided just to back out and to wait until all of my family got home so that they could go along with me and kind of take part in forming this memory of their own.
I don't get to do this very often, so it feels pretty good to be able to kill a buck. He's not necessarily the biggest deer that I've got pictures of, but today is kind of two things simultaneously. Today is Veterans Day and also opening day of rifle season. So I spent a lot of my day thinking about my grandpa. The very last deer that he killed was a small 7-pointer, about 150 to 200 yards away from here. So I was thinking about him quite a bit today, and then this guy walked out, and I hesitated for a little bit and thought about just passing him, but then I kind of changed my mind, decided to go ahead and take him, mainly just because of the significance of the day. This is going to be a memory. This may not be the biggest buck I'll ever kill, but it's definitely going to be one of the most memorable.